AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Oxygen, 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 oxygen. We need it, we need it, we need it. Oxygen, is why we breathe.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Small Biz Stories. I am your host, Dr. LL, and with me today, another Jersey girl, although she's a transplant now. She's left the state and gone to Maryland, but that's okay. We've got Natalia Zacharin, and she is all about debt and managing it and finding money in your business and just really being smarter about money. And who doesn't need to learn about that? So, hey, Natalia, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited for chatting, to chat with you today.
Excellent. Well, we like to give people who are just tuning in through Spotify, our Heart Radio, whatever it is, where they don't have the benefit of the visual experience. We like to paint the picture for them. So, for the auditory folks, talk to all of us about who you are, kind of what you look like, the room you're sitting in, just kind of give us the sense of the space, and then we'll dive into the show.
Sure, absolutely. So, my name is Natalia. I own an accounting firm. We do bookkeeping and fractional CFO work and payroll. My space is, it actually used to be a child's room. So I have like shiplap, I think it's called behind me, as a cool little wall behind me with all my plants, because I like to have that Zen feeling with my plants behind me. I sit in a gamer chair because I work a lot. I don't actually game, but I have a gamer chair because they're super comfortable. I pretty much live in this room a lot. Yeah, excited to be here today.
I love it. And she's got this pop of yellow, looks like some maybe little yellow, like a succulent plant with a little pop of yellow planter, and
Yes,
it's just really cute.
it is actually. I've got, you can't see it very well, but I've got little ceramic pieces that my daughter made in the kindergarten behind me. That's
Oh,
what it is.
big
It's a little
heart,
pot.
big heart. Excellent. All right. So, Natalia, in your gamer chair, let's dig in here and get into the show. So, talk to us about what you, Natalia, are really good at. Not your business, not what you do, but what are you personally like really, really good at?
I think I'm personally really good at picking up patterns. I'm actually very creative, even though I'm an accountant, I'm still extremely creative. And I think because I'm creative, I can see a lot of patterns in things that normally people can't see patterns in. Uh, my favorite creative projects are I garden a lot. I used to be a master gardener and a master naturalist. So I love planting and gardening and seeing the patterns of what works and shapes and sizes and colors and then I see that also in other aspects of relationships and hiring and a lot in businesses. So I think it's actually really helpful to do both.
See, that's why I like to ask this question because A, everybody's got some superpower, some amazing strength. And B, there's always a way to take what you think might be really tangential, like, oh, okay, I plant things and I know about gardening, but
Mhm.
how it applies to everything from rejuvenation and restoration and resilience, right? As an entrepreneur on this bumpy journey to thinking about looking at things a little differently. So I love
Yes,
it. So I like to
yes,
ask it.
yes. And actually, planting is it's delayed gratification, and owning a business is truly delayed gratification also.
Well said. Oh my goodness, that's about the size of it there. Absolutely. So let's dig into figuring out some of the context, because I've had a lot of small business owners on the show, and you see the numbers from SBA and SCORE and these sorts of national groups where they're saying now that about 2/3 of small business owners have a loan, and they're
Hmm.
living off the loans and the credit cards. So we've entered into kind of a weird time. What are you seeing economically with respect to your client base?
Yes, I think a lot of people took advantage of the EIDL loan. And so typically where you would have someone that would feel like they don't need a loan or they want to not have a loan, and then they're they felt like it was like this gift of 3% of having this a large amount of money that they can overcome the 3% easily by building their business. But you have to have a lot of strategy to really overcome that. So what I'm actually seeing is people with these very large loans of over $200,000 typically, or over 100,000, and they are just paying the minimum, and they haven't really strategically been able to take that money and really use it to build their business to overcome that big nut now that they have to get rid of, or they've used all of the money already. So that I've seen that too, where they're just paying it back and actually don't have the cash.
So let's dig into that a little bit more, because one of the things with this podcast we really try to do is talk about the mistakes that either our entrepreneurs and business owners as guests have made themselves, or I've shared my own too. I've made many, 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 many,
Many,
too many to
many,
count.
many.
But we also like to have it from the perspective of the expert like yourself, and like financing and managing structured debt and all of this, to talk about the mistakes that you're seeing in your client base. Without, of course, we never call out any clients, but
Yeah.
we talk about general trends. You who says you see patterns in gardening and things, talk to us about some of the mistakes beyond this one here, that they overextended or they're not paying strategically, that small business owners and entrepreneurs are making right now with respect to their finances.
Yes, I think one of the biggest mistakes is either they don't have the foundation, which is a really good, accurate, timely bookkeeping. And then if they do, they don't actually know how to review the numbers and what they mean. So the first piece that I always talk about is understand having the information, having the foundation, and then being able to review those numbers and then take that information and create budgets and forecasts. So to go beyond that. And the reason why those things are really important are because number one, not understanding where you are now and not understanding where you are headed is you're getting blindsided. So it doesn't give you time or opportunity or more options to micro correct or do something a little bit different before you end up in trouble. So I love having budgets. So if you're overextended and you have a bunch of debt, a budget is wonderful because it gives you the opportunity to really sit down and see where you're spending, what does that look like, and how to maybe tighten your belt a little bit in order to live within your means. So living within your means is number one, and number two, you're an entrepreneur, so you don't have a ceiling for how much money you're making. You have a lot of opportunity. So once you understand what are those expenses that you have, how to build revenue even higher, so that and that includes sales and getting really good at sales and what is that, whatever that means, and forecasting into that so that you are making even more money. So I'm not like a big fan of, hey, don't go get your $5 coffee. If your $5 coffee inspires you, go ahead and get that $5 coffee every day if you want to, or have a nice car if you want to, but make sure that you understand your means, your budget, and then make sure that you also are building your revenue and your profit.
Oh, I love it. So that's the kind of thing, because you hear a lot about having to go to an extreme.
Hmm.
Either you've got to really put on the show and say, "Oh, I'm here, look at me, I'm killing it. I've got this, I'm renting this place, I'm renting that. Look at my Lambo in the driveway," and this whole influencer nonsense, right? So that you get perceived as being a brand that's being successful. And then the flip side, it's total austerity, right? Where you can't even go for that $5 coffee, and so you're just trying to hide and hang low.
Yes.
But we've got to find a way to make it work for us, right? All within the numbers. Now, I'm going to poke the bear a little bit here on a couple of things. So, having been one of these founders and having gotten into it with a lot of the folks I've mentored through different accelerator programs that I've been a part of, either as a participant or led as the mentor, here's the question. So when you say like, oh, before you get too far behind in your bookkeeping and or find a problem and refine it, so many founders I've talked to have said, yeah, but that's what like CPAs do. Like they'll figure that out. Like just do your thing. You don't even have to do it and track it. Then like, okay, come April, they'll just figure all that out for you. Don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah. That is one of the biggest things that we find is that, and some CPAs are at fault also because they'll say, just send me everything and, I'll get it all prepared for your taxes. They're not helping you if they're doing that, for instance. And also, what are you doing to evaluate your profitability regularly? Having a profitable business means that you have to evaluate that business and see what's going on. Just looking at how much cash you have in the bank isn't enough because you don't know if you're going to have that cash in 2 months down the road, maybe 3 months down the road. I think a lot of people look at their bank account and they say, oh, I think I'm doing okay. So I still have cash in the bank and the cash is improving. But what is that term? If you don't measure it, it doesn't happen if you don't measure it. I forgot what that term is, but you need to measure things so that you really know if you've got profit leaks. Maybe you can be doing a lot better, or maybe you're not profitable at all and you have cash in the bank because you keep investing money back into your business. I've seen that too. Yeah.
And I think that expression is, or one of them related to it, is that if you don't measure it, you can't improve it.
Yes.
Right, something along those lines. And for those not having the full visual experience, we just saw little black kitty cats poking his head in through the
I know
corner.
she keeps trying. I keep trying to push her away, but here she comes. There she is.
Hello, kitty cat. Um, a second angle I want to poke the bear at is with respect to forecast, because I get into this a lot with my
Mhm.
mentees. People are like, I don't know. I have no freaking idea how much I'm going to sell. It depends. Like maybe the market wants it, maybe they don't. So forecasts are just bunk anyway. They're crap. I totally can't tell you how much I make until the quarter's over. Then I can tell you how much I made. React
Yes.
to that.
So, the whole purpose of the forecast is to understand what your metrics are. So, we sit down first and we talk about what are your goals. So, for instance, if you're at $1 million in gross revenue and you want to grow to $2 million in gross revenue, taking into consideration any kind of seasonality or anything else that's going on, or maybe you're closing like this big deal in a couple of months, taking all that into consideration, and we actually map it out month over month over month. And then what is affected by that revenue? So if your revenue builds, typically your payroll will go up, right? If you have a product, your cost of goods will go up. The cost of that to create that product. A lot of other things might stay the same, or some things will increase. Maybe your insurance will go up. So we take into account all the different things that will be impacted by a change in revenue. And then we map out where do you need to be in profit, and it's usually higher than what your competitors are at or where the standard industry is at because we don't want to be standard. We want to be above standard. So we map out what that profit would look like and how much cash you need. And like just as a typical amount, we want you to have a minimum of 3 months of cash of all of your expenses in the bank. Some people say at least a minimum of 3 months worth of payroll. I like having a minimum of all of your expenses in the bank. That gives you cushion. So when we map all of that out, what we do is we meet every single month. And then we say, this was what we targeted as the revenue and all of the other numbers. This is what actually happened. And here's the variance. And then that starts the conversation. Why didn't we get to these numbers? Why, or maybe we overspent, maybe the revenue wasn't as high, maybe payroll was a lot higher. Those conversations are where the magic really happens because then you really start understanding your business as a living, breathing being because it's an entity unto itself. So you really start understanding the dynamics of what levers affect other things.
And can you talk to us a little bit about this concept that we had some back and forth before we started the show and to bring you on that clients can find money in their businesses and sometimes that you look at it a different way and like, oh, there might be money in that. What does that really mean, short of having some hidden pot of gold at the end of some rainbow somewhere, or some really wealthy
Sure.
relative who is about to drop off the planet, right, and leave you a nice little package? Where does this found money come from? Can you share?
Sure, there can be so many different places. It could be maybe a service or a product line. Maybe you haven't increased your prices in a really long time. The price increases are really important. If you have, I'm sure everybody can tell we're all being squeezed by all of our vendors and they're all increasing prices. All of your software is going up, your utilities have gone up, fuel has gone up, the cost of people and payroll has gone up significantly. For instance, someone that you could have hired for $50,000 back 3 years ago probably wants 65,000 now with the same
At
level
least.
of experience, at least, right? So with all of those increases and all of the expenses, if you haven't done a price increase, that's probably one of the places where you
Mm.
should be able to find a lot of money. What does that mean? That means that maybe some clients or customers will fall off, or you won't have as many people buying. So then you need to be really sure if your lead generation and your marketing and your sales are working, because you'll have to talk to more people. If your prices are higher, you're going to have to talk to more people because
Mhm.
you'll get a few more no's. And that's okay because you just get better and better at that. Another place to find money is, and that's why budget is really important, because you start finding that you're using things that you set up a long time ago that you're no longer using, or it's a duplicate. So there's could be software, there could be other items that you're paying for on a regular basis you don't even notice. And I just realized I was paying for Voxer. Everybody was into Voxer a couple of years ago. It's like this app, and I was paying $100 a year for it. So it's an annual renewable, and I probably forgot I had it. And it's only $100 a year, but that could be $100 in my pocket. Why would I spend it on something I'm no longer using it? So, take the time to actually really look through some of your expenses. I'm sure there are things that you don't need anymore. Um, the other thing, and this is going to be one of the big ones. So increasing revenue is a big one, but also increasing efficiency. So look at
Mm.
your people. Are they the best fit for their positions? Are they the best fit for your culture and your core values? Are they aligned with your mission? Are they efficient and effective in what they're doing? Do they need more training? Do they need to be in a different position? Do they need to have better metrics and KPIs so they know what's expected of them? And if they're not a good fit, are you transitioning them out quickly so you're not losing more money? So that's a big one.
Ooh, and ties into like it queued up as you were talking a few things around the emotional connection. So having worked with a gajillion people like in corporate and in startup world,
Mhm.
what I've noticed is that women tend to hire fast and fire slowly. Men, of course, it's the inverse. Men tend to hire slowly but fire fast. And I've seen that women just have that deeper emotional connection. Oh, I don't want to raise my prices because then I might lose some customers and I don't want to upset them and I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. And so they hesitate to their own detriment. Have you seen this pattern?
Yes, and actually, I can fall into this pattern too. So I have tricks.
Okay,
Yes,
perfect. Share your tricks. Women
yes.
to women
So
here. Let's talk.
yes, women to women, we do often feel like we don't have as much value, or we're afraid, or we're very nurturing, so we want to help people, and we feel bad about charging them appropriately.
Yes.
So there's a couple ways that I deal with that because I have those feelings as well. With hiring and firing, I'm very strong in first of all, I feel that the business is an entity unto its own and it needs protection above all people. So the business needs to be protected above any one person. It's because it's an entity. If the business doesn't survive, your clients also get affected, all the other employees get affected. So the business itself is more important than just one single person. I hate to put it that way, but if you start thinking that in terms of that, it actually makes it easier. The business has to be healthy and it has to survive because a business is doing good for the economy, doing good for clients, doing good for other employees. And like the ripple effect of what your business is doing is far beyond what you could even imagine what it is. So don't forget that, or keep that in mind. The second thing is to have a consistent way of hiring and firing. So a wonderful book on hiring is called Who by Jeff Smart and Randall Street. And you can read it in a couple of hours. It's a really easy read. But they have a system of three interviews. One interview is just a 15-minute quick interview just to see if you're going to even spend more time with this person, if they're a good fit. The second interview is a normal chronological interview. Usually it takes an hour. The third interview is going to be more of a technical interview or to ask some of the other questions. But the questions in that book are geared to keep asking basically the same thing and to look for patterns. We were talking about patterns earlier. So you can see patterns in how they're responding, but it gives you a system of making decisions so you don't make a decision emotionally. And there have been times where I've had candidates try to pressure me, or I've because they
Oh,
say, "Oh, I have a lot of interviews and I'm about to like accept this interview." I never veer away from my three interviews. I will maybe speed them up and have them all in 1 week instead of spreading them out, but I never not do them because once I did and it was a bad hire. It was not a good fit for us. So I never veer away from those three interviews. I ask those questions. I've added some of my own. And I also do a personality test to see how they're wired, to see if they're a good fit for that position. And then still knowing that I can't ever test for or know work ethic or character. And
yeah.
so those things will come out in the first 30 days, maybe even sooner in 2 weeks. And so then we always make sure to give them a little bit of work in the beginning, when we decide to hire them. And we can tell within about 2 weeks if we're on the fence or not. And I've never been on the fence and gone back and said, oh, they're going to be amazing. I've always been on the fence and eventually had to transition them out. And we've gotten faster and faster. And that also, I really lean on my core values and on the mission and the vision of the business. Are they aligned with that? The core values are really important to me, and it makes making the decision a lot less emotional. My first three core values are integrity, accuracy, and excellence. And I can't tell you how many times where integrity was lacking. I could tell that they weren't honest with me. They got to go immediately. That's it. No second chances. Um,
Yeah, no, you can't mess around with numbers and stuff and integrity or counting
yeah,
clients. It's like, yeah, was that a decimal place there? No, I don't think so. Right.
yes.
Oh, well, right. I'm just going to give
Drama.
myself a little extra on the side. Right.
Yes, exactly. Drama, gossip, out right away, immediately. That those are killers. They're culture killers in your business. So that is not allowed. Now, I will have a discussion and give someone a chance because you never know, they might be going through something. So I always give someone a chance if something happens. Um, but usually they're showing you who they are already, just like in a relationship. Just like if you're dating, they're
Right.
showing you who they are, and you're not doing them a favor by keeping them in your company if they're not a good fit. They know they're not a good fit if they're not. So you're not doing them a favor by keeping them there. If they get transitioned out, they're forced to find something else that's a better fit for them. And I truly believe that the universe is always aligning us in the right place. I mean, I've been, the reason I started my business is because I had a company that didn't want me to stay there with them. And I was
Yeah.
very upset. I was very hardworking. I really wanted to stay, but if I had stayed there, I wouldn't have built what I built. I didn't belong there.
Oh, I have not belonged in a lot of places, Natalia. So I hear you. I see
Yes.
you. Yes, yes, yes. Now, on this whole thing with pairing hiring along the principles of your core values, the company's values, the mission and having that. I also think it's more than just a yardstick to be able to say that the candidate is or is not hitting that yardstick. I think it's absolutely essential in today's litigious society where you've got to show and demonstrate, well, what does your not a fit mean, right? You have to
Mhm.
show it or you're going to have lawsuits. And who has time for all that?
Yes. Oh, two things. One is, and no one ever told me about this, and I found out about it accidentally. Employment practices liability insurance, EPLI, is extremely important for you to have that insurance as an employer that will protect you. It's not that expensive. I think it costs me about 5,000 a year, and it protects us for over $1 million in any type of situations where an employee might sue us. So do protect yourself with a really good insurance policy. The other thing is performance reviews. There's no reason to wait for 6 months for performance reviews. We start conducting reviews in the first 30 days. And we found that when we didn't do this and something got dropped, then we had an issue where we were afraid that something wasn't going to, turn out. And the person was actually using very litigious language with us, and they were not a good fit. Sorry, she's now the other cat decided to step in. Um,
She's cute too.
but we were very concerned about that. And so we ended up keeping this person on for a much longer time period. It was extremely expensive. It was stressful. And if we just conducted that performance review in the very beginning, a lot of that would have been avoided.
Oh, it's just so key. Plus, it's also where that's the trend. People want to have the performance feedback as soon as possible and ideally in the moment. I mean, done privately, not in a group like, hey,
Yeah.
Laurelyn, you should have done this there. Like, but right after, Laurelyn, I noticed something, right? Because for the most part, if we're in a job, we want to keep our job. And that means we've got to figure out how we can do things differently or better, right? So that we're aligned more with our supervisors or the organization's needs. So it makes good sense all the way around.
Yes.
As we're getting close to the end of our podcast here, a couple more questions. If you looked at all of the business schools out there, and they've got all these candidates being pumped out, right, from bachelor's in business to MBA, and they're coming into the marketplace, what do you think business schools should be teaching in the curriculum? Either teaching it
Oh.
because it's not there, or teaching it better because they're coming into the workforce and you're like, you're not ready.
Definitely a lot more information about how to understand financials,
Mm.
how to read them, how to analyze them, how to understand them, maybe even how to put them together. I don't think that people like that is a great thing to outsource to someone that really understands. I don't think that as a business owner that you should necessarily take the time to learn your own bookkeeping because that takes a lot of time. And your job as the owner is to build revenue, business development, to build the business. You're already getting pulled in a million different directions, and also to have time to do things that bring you joy. So,
There's that.
there's that too. So don't overwhelm yourself. It takes a lot of time and a lot of practice to really learn that. But if you can learn the basics in business school of how to read financials, I think that would be really beneficial. The other thing that I think that's really lacking and not a lot of people talk about is getting very good at sales and lead generation. As a business owner, no one's going to have as much skin in the game as you do. And if you don't know how to sell your own services or your own product, it's going to be hard to teach someone else or to know if they're doing a good job for you. So you have to get really good at sales to have a very successful business. Sales drives everything.
Oh, yeah. And I've seen this. So many founders really just get so overwhelmed with lead generation. So we'll outsource it to marketing company ABC, who has the coolest new whatever gizmo technology, guaranteed to bring you whatever X number of leads, right? And then, but I see so many founders outsourcing the sales of their products and services. Even I did that, and I've been in sales and marketing. It's like, oh, I'm doing so much. I'm building the technology. I'm building this e-learning platform. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Talk about very bad business and financial decisions, but that's time for another story.
Mhm.
And so I said, oh, okay, this person's in education. They can really help me sell. They have the content. I spent a fortune and got nothing. And then I was like, why am I having you sell what I've built and put my heart and soul into? You don't even really fully understand it, and you're not trying to understand it. So toodles, right?
Yeah.
And since then, it's been a different story.
Yes, sales is a very different hire, and marketing as well. And I really think that as the founder, you really have to understand both. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
it stinks. I know that you're good at what you do and you don't like sales. A lot of us hate sales. But think of it this way is that sales and marketing bring clients and customers to you who don't know you. There
Right.
are people out there that need you. You're doing something amazing, and they need you and they're looking for you. So they need to be able to find you. And I would think about it that way. And you do have to get really good at sales and marketing yourself before you know how to hire someone. And I would even go so far as to say you shouldn't be hiring sales and marketing before you are at least 750,000 in gross revenue on a regular basis
Well,
annually.
that's, I think, a really a good guide metric right there. I mean, I haven't actually ever had anyone state where, what's that line, right? Where does it start to be more cost effective to have a salesperson come to your team? So I think that's
Mhm.
really, like I said, an
Yeah,
incredible metric to be able to aim for. Now, as we're wrapping up our show, Natalia, where can folks find you?
absolutely. So we actually made a special page for your audience, and it would be under www.zacharinconsulting.com/S as small business stories SBS. So zacharinconsulting.com/SBS for small business stories.
And folks, don't worry. All of the links are going to be in the podcast. So again, those with the auditory experience going like, wait, I'm trying to drive. How do I write this down? Don't worry. Don't worry. We've got you covered. It's going to be in the notes.
Yes.
And are you active on LinkedIn or other platforms? Sorry, go ahead,
We are.
Natalia.
I did want to say that I forgot to mention we have a couple of free giveaways on that page for your audience as well. We have two PDFs. One is 7 ways to find more money in your business now. We started talking about some of those things, and there's more information there. And then the ultimate checklist for a financially successful business. Some of it is very foundational, and then it goes up into more advanced ways to be financially successful. And then the third link is to schedule a strategy session for a financial consultation with us if you want to do that. And then, yes, we're on LinkedIn under Grow Your Bottom Line or Natalia Zacharin. We're on Instagram under Grow Your Bottom Line and on Facebook under Zacharin Consulting.
Okay, so folks, you can find Natalia and her company and all these wonderful things. All right, we're going to bring it home with our signature question. If
Oh,
we got to peek into your closet, right? Because like especially women, we love to peek in other women's closets, right? Like we like to know what's in there. Talk to us about the type of footwear. Maybe it's boots, shoes, something else. Maybe it's an accessory. Maybe you're a scarf girl. Maybe you're a glitter girl or some kind of clothes, something that personifies who you are. Natalia Zacharin, right? You're a this, you're a that. And when you wear that, like you're on fire because that is so you. Talk to us about what we're looking at and why it's so Natalia.
I'm a clothes horse. I have a lot of clothes that I love. Um, I exercise diligently so I can fit into clothes that I've had for decades. So that's been key. That's why I have a lot of clothes because I don't tend to get rid of a lot of it. Um, I love putting things together. So sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to wear those red shoes, and then I find the outfit after the shoes. So the shoes just give it a pop. I think I've got like probably 100 pair of shoes, some of which I can't even really wear very well because now my feet are starting to bother me. I still love them. And then I would be, I'm just as comfortable getting into a long gown, going to a black tie affair as I am putting on hiking boots and, sleeping overnight in a tent and backpacking in a mountain. So I do all of it and I love all of it. So I've got a lot of different things for every event.
Excellent. I love it so that you are like, a woman ready for anything and everything, right? That's what I'm hearing.
Yes, yeah, I actually have a scouting background. That's probably why. Always ready.
Well, see, there you go. I went to Girl Scouts but didn't complete Girl Scouts because here's why. Funny little story. We were doing the outdoor survival and it was, to earn your badge, we had to be out there 7 days and whatever, some godforsaken mosquito swamp infested, like just in the depths of Canada, okay? Like so like nasty, nasty, nastiness where the mosquitoes are bigger than birds, right? And we were out there, long story less long, is that all of the Tawny Owls and the Girl Scout, guides and stuff, the leaders of the pack, they were out there having the bonfire. They sent us all us gals to bed and they were trying to open their wine bottles. And they're like, damn it, we didn't bring a bottle opener. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And so I poked my head out of the tent because, of course, I was still awake. I'm a total night owl. And I'm like, I can open your wine with just a towel and a tree. And they're like, what? I'm like, okay, but here's the deal. If I do, I get my badge, I'm done with Girl Scouts, and you send me home tomorrow. And they're like, done, done. Name it, Laurelyn. That's your price. I'm like, that's my price. So I took my towel and I went up the tree and I banged out every wine cork for them. And they were like, and then the next day I was home, no more mosquitoes, and I got my badge and I was done. But so I didn't really do the Girl Scouty thing.
Yeah, but I think you are still a scout at heart because you figured things out. You're like the MacGyver of Girl Scouts.
Absolutely. And if it comes to wine and like funny trick, it is a funny trick over the years, like through college and all this going to parties. And people are like, no way, $20. I'll bet you $20. You'll pop the cork or you'll spill it. I'm like, $20 now, guaranteed. Here you go. Toodles. Right. Yeah,
Amazing.
it's party tricks. Anyway, with that, Natalia Zacharin, founder of Zacharin Consulting, thank you so much for being on our show and giving us insights on how we can find money in our businesses and how we can better manage our debt in businesses. Thank you, Natalia.
Thank you so much for having me, Laurelyn. It's been great. I've enjoyed every second.
Excellent.
And how about that fantastic intro by Touch Circle?
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. One of the perks about having 4 kids that you know about is actually getting a direct line to the big man up north. And this year, he wants you to know the best gift that you can give someone is the gift of Mint Mobile's unlimited wireless for $15 a month. Now, you don't even need to wrap it. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.